What's going on, Jeromes? So I'll be the first to admit I don't know what to do here. And, the tragedy that took Kyrie Jackson, A.J. Litton, and Isaiah Hazel, it's horrible. And, just the raw, real emotions and, trying to have respect for the three and the families. I mean, I don't know, because on one hand, like, it's always seems like too soon, and what's difficult is like we're a quasi comedy football channel, so how are we supposed to proceed with stuff like this? And the thing is, like, I know that like our content brings brightness and some positivity and maybe a chuckle or two and some information to people's lives, and I also respect that, and I value that, and I take that responsibility seriously, right? And I know that haters and losers would be like, oh, look, he's making content after he was complaining about the Star Tribune. So here's the thing, look at me. So if you don't see a distinction between that and the Star Tribune. So again, not to rehash or relitigate this thing, but so the Strib and Suhan putting out an article about cornerbacks, which was written way ahead of time. Understandable. Now, timing wise, probably could have took it down, right? And also, here's where the disrespect and callousness comes in. Going in and editing it and citing Kyrie Jackson's death as a reason for lack of cornerback depth. That just takes it to a different level. Now, people's... we got in a bunch of comments where we're just like, oh, it's sports and they're just doing their job. I don't know. Like, I feel like self-awareness and tact and respect, like, is that just gone nowadays? I don't know. But like I said, I'm not the arbiter of when morning is over or whatever, and so I don't know. You don't know. Frankly, no one knows, right? But like I said, I know that. God, this sounds like a douchebag, but I know that like our videos in this channel like brings happiness to the Jeromes and the viewers and stuff, and we want to respect that. But I mean, like, also, like, frankly, I don't feel like joking or laughing, and I don't know, man. But we'll see, and if the vibes are off, we'll adjust accordingly. But yeah, like I said, I don't know what to do. So there it is. And like we said in previous videos, point out all revenue from Kyrie Jackson videos we're going to put towards the charity or the scholarship fund, which I'm sure his family is going to start in Kyrie's name. And so I'm just looking to pay it forward like that. Yeah. All right. So first up, Ben Fox. Fantastic sports betting reporter. Also, I think he's a Vikings fan too. There you go. Some more betting love for Minnesota Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold. One better at FanDuel Sportsbook wagered $250 on Darnold to win NFL Offensive Player of the Year at 401 odds. Bet would win $100K. So there's also a wager. I think it was also $250, but at significant odds for Darnold to win MVP. Now, so this would be such a bad beat. So generally, like, MVP and Offensive Player of the Year are two different players, right? So it's almost like the consolation prize for whoever doesn't win MVP. And usually, they'll give it to a receiver or running back and just like, oh, here you go. But what a bad beat this would be. Like, say Sam Darnold comes out and has a career year, which is certainly possible, right? And say Darnold wins MVP, but he doesn't win Offensive Player of the Year. That's such a bad beat. Well, except for the person who bet on Darnold to win MVP. But I don't know. Is it possible? I mean, it's not impossible. But how would he win Offensive Player of the Year? Well, he'd have to put up numbers, and the Vikings would have to be in playoff contention and probably make the playoffs or even win the division. Frankly, if Darnold starts all year and wins the division and he plays well, you could honestly see him in the MVP conversation. So this is what media members do, is that if there's a clear MVP, not unanimous, but pretty clear who's going to win, they'll vote for someone offbeat just so they can write the article. Here's why I voted for Sam Darnold for MVP versus Patrick Mahomes. That's what happened. Baseball writers do that a lot with their Hall of Fame votes. It's just grandstanding at this point. Also, it's ridiculous. How's Ken Griffey Jr. not unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer? Same thing with Derek Jeter. And the whole rationale is, like the older baseball writers, Babe Ruth wasn't unanimous, so Ken Griffey Jr. cannot be unanimous. It's so stupid. Shut up. Shut the hell up. That's all, man. Also, Purple Suasion put this out. According to execs, coaches, and scouts around the NFL via Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, Vikings running back Aaron Jones was an honorable mention for one of the top 10 running backs in the league. Jones finished the 2023 season with 5 consecutive 100-yard games through the regular season playoffs. He lost a tight battle with Etienne, Travis Etienne of the Jaguars, for the 10th spot. Green Bay's offense was completely different when he was healthy, an NFC defensive coach said. He's a difference maker. And he really is. And even though, again, the whole irony is that Jones is older than Dalvin. But, I mean, Dalvin's obviously had health issues, and Jones hasn't been the picture of health throughout his career either. But it does seem like he does have more left in the tank. I think probably because he's never been the bell cow running back anywhere he's gone. And so I think that keeping the carries low, keeping that contact low could help him with longevity. And like Jeremy Fowler alluded to, 5 straight 100-yard games, hat trick of touchdowns against Dallas in the playoffs. I think Jones is going to add a significant amount to the Vikings running game, which was sorely lacking last year. And in some unfortunate media news, so Greg Rosenthal, Delaware, so fun. Rosenthal and Anthony Jeselnik, the comedian, I believe were like college roommates. They have a podcast together. It's really hilarious because the demeanor of the two a little bit different. But Rosenthal tweeted out, "We started the Around the NFL podcast 11 years ago, and over 1,600 episodes ago, we didn't take a single break in all the years since, which is part of what made the last 6 weeks so heartbreaking. I never expected our last show, May 23rd, to be our last show, but here we are." And Around the NFL was a fantastic podcast, and a lot of this show is modeled after like their personalities and stuff, and blending of jokes and not taking things too seriously, because so football is a simple game at its core, right? But I feel like there's a lot of curmudgeons and gatekeepers in there, just like, oh, it's a very serious business. But at the end of the day, it's dudes in pads chasing an inflated pig bladder, right, and running into each other, right? And Rosenthal, Dan Hanzus, the Zeuser, the host, Jets fan, dumbest rivalry in sports history. Sessler, Browns fan, the Sizzler, and of course the late great Chris Wessling. Yeah, man. I mean, the show was like a perfect blend of personalities and information, and frankly, it would get my vote for the best football podcast of the last decade. And not even say that like with recency bias or hyperbole, anything like that. And there's a ton of football podcasts out there, but in terms of consistency, caliber of commentary, the flow of the program, and like I said, just the balance of entertainment and information, like this show was it. And I don't know what's going on with NFL media. So a lot of people love Good Morning Football, but they're messing with that recipe, and now they're ending this very popular podcast, and frankly it's probably one of the best pieces of content NFL media puts out there, and reports are that Rosenthal is going to be hosting a new show, but Hanzus and Sessler are out. So I don't know, like it's one of those things where it's like, if it's not broke, break it. And I don't know, like it's so frustrating sometimes. Like the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar, probably even approaching $1 trillion league, and they can't find a couple of shekels to like operate a podcast that is beloved by a significant portion of the fan base. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah. So, I obviously this weekend's been, very, very trying, but like the NFL put out a clip that actually made me smile and chuckle. So, Kevin O'Connell's NFL debut back in 2008. So it was week 3 against the Dolphins. Patriots were hosting the Dolphins, and remember 2008, where Kevin O'Connell was a 3rd-round pick coming out of San Diego State. He wasn't even Tom Brady's backup. He was QB3 behind Vikings legend Matt Castle, who, the pride of USC, was a 7th-round pick by the Patriots, even though he wasn't even the starter. Like, he was Carson Palmer's backup. All right. He even played some tight end for the Trojans. But remember, week 1, Bernard Pollard and Tom Brady had a meeting, and Brady's ACL did not make it out of that meeting. So this was that weird year where the Patriots went 11-5 and they didn't make the playoffs because of the Dolphins won the division because of the late great Tony Sperano. And remember, all right, so you see the box score. Miami's leading 38-13. Remember, this was the Wildcat debut game. How crazy is that? So, like, Kevin O'Connell is literally a piece of NFL history because remember in this game, this was the debut of the Wildcat, where it had been run in college before. I believe Arkansas, like Felix Jones, they had run a version of this. I think they called it the Wild Hog because but I mean Ronnie Brown in the shotgun, and the reason why the Wildcat was so tough is because when defenders, especially at upper level football, are counting out responsibilities, like it's really tough to account for the quarterback, because if you account for the quarterback as a runner, then you basically get one-on-one all over the place, or even have the offense will even have numbers in parts where, I mean, guys haven't defended a running quarterback in general since like high school, right? So it's almost like trying to defend the triple option. That's why when the Dolphins debuted this, like even a coached up team like Belichick's, they weren't ready for it because they just whipped it out week 3. And there was nothing that the Patriots had done to prepare for it. But Ronnie Brown, I mean, just look at this. 17 carries for $113 and 4 touchdowns. He also threw a touchdown, I believe, to Anthony Fasano late in the game. And it worked because Ronnie Brown is left-handed. So just rolling out, it's good to go. Also, Ricky Williams, 16 carries for 98, because part and parcel of the Wildcat is a run action with the running back, and then the running back in the shotgun taking the ball in the quarterback spot, could keep it, could throw it, could do a lot of things. So eventually as the game wore on, and especially after halftime, and the Patriots were now keying in on Ronnie Brown, all of a sudden he was handing off to Ricky Williams, and Ricky Williams was running with numbers. So it's really interesting. Wide receiver Chad Pennington this game. He lined up a wide receiver like 7 snaps. It was funny. But Castle did not have a good day. Got sacked 4 times. But Kevin O'Connell, 3 of 4 for 25 yards. Also took a sack. Ran. Let's see. Oh, it didn't run. There we go. But I don't know. It was just really kind of neat seeing Kevin O'Connell out there. Like, mainly because he hasn't aged a day. Because also he's like 38. One of the two. Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I feel like Kevin O'Connell would have worked out in today's modern game. Like, put Kevin O'Connell and his arm and running ability in a modern RPO system, and let's go. Let's go, man. Speaking of going, so J-Quin Roy, big hopes for him in year 2. Out there getting a workout, nice Sunday run. And so if you notice, like, I'm pretty sure he's in Lebanon Hills and Egan. So take my kids there a ton. It's really cool because you got nature, basically right in the second-ranked suburbs of the Twin Cities, and they got great walking paths. They got bridges over uneven areas and water. It's really cool because my son Rocco, he loves turtles, and there's always like a ton of turtles out there. Usually they're just like hanging out in the lily pads, just like what up. All right. Also, they have like a nice beach area. It's kind of small. It gets a little bit crowded, but it is nice in there. So, glad to see J-Quin putting in that work. Also enjoying some nature here in the South Metro. Yeah. Also, something I'm enjoying. So I'm preparing for Jefferson on Netflix's Receiver, which drops on the 10th. But going through, there's been a ton of like in-season football documentaries, whether it's Hard Knocks, whether it's All or Nothing, and just randomly. So I usually like having something on in the background. So put on the 2017 Michigan Wolverines All or Nothing. Now, this one's tough because this is before Harbaugh was Harbaugh, and being made to be a deity in Ann Arbor, because it was before he could beat Ohio State. It was before they won the Natty. It was before J.J. McCarthy. But that 2017 team, man, like Chase Winovich and Maurice Hurst, and as well as Rashawn Gary were in that mix there. Also, little cameo from number 1-4, Josh Metellus, number 14 in your program, number 1 in your heart. It's looking good, man. I mean, so what's crazy is that that 2016 Michigan defense was one of the best in the country. They had to replace 10 starters, and your replacements coming in are like Rashawn Gary and Josh Metellus and stuff. Chase Winovich. It's great, man. It was really, really good. But yeah, like I said, I mean, there's no real right way to go about this. And I know that, like, everyone still has heavy hearts, and like I know that football will eventually be important again, and it will have to be very soon. Training camp coming up in a couple weeks, season is going to be starting on time. But just trying to find that balance of having respect for the victims and the families and everything like that. All right, so hopefully we're doing that, and just want to thank the Jeromes who get it, and that's it, man. So, Skull, no production value.